Accountex is day one. I'm here with Steve Cox of Iris. How's it going, Steve?
Good, nice and busy, which is great.
It is, and we've got the live music going on.
I know, party time.
It must feel good back being face to face.
Do you know what? It's been 3 years since we've been able to go and do this. Being able to get in front of accountants, professionals, customers, and actually other vendors. It's been fantastic. It's actually been something we've really missed.
Yeah. Tell us about this branding with the t-shirts. I see everyone around here in the pink. Official supporters of accountants. What's that stance there, Steve?
So Iris works with like 23,000 accountants in the UK. No other vendor does that many. So it's not just around trying to help them with their software and their technology. Actually, we want to help them as professionals, as individuals. So Iris's whole piece now around being the supporter of accountants is to help them with every aspect of what they do in their profession. Whether that's advice, whether it's software, whether it's professional services, or even just someone to come and talk to. We're here to help them. We've seen through the pandemic that firms have gone bust, some have struggled, others have thrived. But actually, we're all in it together, so therefore we want to support them and help them with everything we can.
It's a more holistic approach, actually, isn't it?
It's a big change compared to how a lot of others work, who want to kind of just have their own little slice of what the practice does or what the firm does. Actually, you can't do that anymore. Firms want to be able to work on multiple different aspects of what they do in their practice. You've got to be able to help them with all of it. And the great thing is, even if you can't help, you can point them in the direction of someone who can. That's going to be more powerful to help the firm.
Well, you've been coming to Accountex for many years now. And have you noticed any change in it? Is it just as it was before the pandemic, or is it lifted up a little bit, more budgets to spend?
I think that where vendors, exhibitors haven't been here for 3 years, it's kind of just looking around. The level of stands, the parties that are going on, they're putting their money into it.
Well, your stand is not unsubstantial here, is it?
It's quite big, it's our biggest one ever, and we'll probably grow again next year as well. We see Accountex as, for us, it's the beginning of our financial year anyway. So actually it's a great chance for us to get out there and start afresh each year, getting out to speak to people, but there isn't another event like this at the moment. Not from a volume point of view. Accounting Web Live is quite an interesting one and growing. We do our own events, but actually no one like this with an atmosphere.
What kind of conversations are you having on the stand, you and your team here?
The fascinating ones have been more around the insights we're getting from firms, around the problems that they're facing, the battles. But actually, with all of those challenges, the biggest one that they're really facing is they just can't seem to get enough time in the day. There's only 24 hours in a day, and a lot of people have said, look, we're working from home, hybrid working, but it means we're actually working longer. We're not working smarter. How can we do that? And that's, you were asking earlier about the masters of time. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to show people how we can help them manage their time better, how we can give them more time back to go and focus on either growing their firm, maybe even getting a bit better work-life balance, or starting to do something new.
A big part of why accountants come here is the intelligence, the knowledge, the skills, if you like, the CPD, CPA. One of the problems, Steve, is that they're so overwhelmed, they're so overloaded that you've alluded to there, that they go back and it's a full inbox and 10 voicemail messages and right back to the BAU, the business as usual. So any words of encouragement for them to make things like this count?
Well, obviously listen to the podcast because you guys are taking all the highlights of all of this, so they'll get the most out of it.
Thank you for that.
The second one is around they do need to take that time out, right? Put your out of office on. Don't apologise for taking time out. We all need a bit of headspace. One of the things that I suggest to firms, in fact I did this in my own talk, was saying take an afternoon where actually you put your out of office on, say to your clients I'm not going to be contactable, because actually trying to work on the firm, taking some of the insights they've got from today and tomorrow, taking that back to the firm, sharing it. Don't be kind of an island of knowledge on your own. Share it with your fellow practitioners, share it with your staff. The only way that you'll ever be able to change things is to help bring people along for the journey. So you've got to take that time.
One of the criticisms, if I can call it that, Steve, levelled at Iris, is that you're such a big beast fighting on so many fronts. And you're acutely aware of this. So what are you doing to simplify your proposition or communicate it better to the marketplace?
So other than the whole kind of like official support of accountants, kind of showed there's so much we can do for us. We're kind of changing not just the proposition, but the way we help them as well. So for years we have been focused on desktop software, and we've then put some extra parts around it that have been cloud-based. Now we've kind of for years been talking about Elements, our next generation platform, to say to them, look, actually we want to make it easier for you to consume our software, to work with us, because actually we do it in partnership. We've now launched our first edition of our Elements Suite. We said we were going to do it. We've hit our own target, which is fantastic. Some didn't think we would do it. We've done that. And we're showing people now to say, look, it's not just about moving to the cloud. And actually, a lot of you need to still work on the desktop. So the way that we've done that is all around how we can bring desktop and cloud together. So therefore, if you're working in the desktop and you need something from the cloud, it's the same data. That means that you don't have to change your whole strategy to migrate stuff across. Actually, it's more about where does the work fit best, in the cloud or desktop. And as we expand on that Elements Suite, they'll be able to put more in the cloud if they want, but at the same time they can still do it in the desktop.
Talking to so many accountants like you and your team do here, what do you feel are the key skills and attributes they will need over the next few years to stay relevant and competitive?
The first one is around having an open mind, because there's so much change. I mean, just looking around here, some of the changes, the new technologies, the new approaches. I mean, crikey, there's a whole cryptocurrency piece around the corner, which most firms are really quite scared of. So have an open mind. It's the first thing I would say. We're not a closed office, just a trial balance, just a set of accounts or a tax return. Accountants have become proper business advisors, and you've got to have an open mind to that. The second one is, whilst you may have been trained as an accountant in T accounts and all of the legislation, you're much more than that. Actually, you're an agony aunt accountant these days, because you've got to work with the client relationships, you've got to have all those soft skills. A lot of people dub it as advisory. It's not. Actually, compliance is a form of advisory. It's around conversations and relationships.
You're a counsellor and a therapist and a shoulder to cry on, aren't you?
Exactly, right? You've got to have all of those to be a well-rounded business advisor, not just someone keeping someone out of jail with a tax return.
And you get in the sense, Steve, when you talk to other vendors, maybe your competition, that there's a sea change in, instead of taking from accountants what they can and trying to access the clients directly, to make them more the hero of the story and befriend them a little bit more, because some vendors maybe have gone the wrong way with that one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think the accountant has always been a hero, but it's been like the unsung hero for us. What's been fascinating, I mean, we hear from firms all the time, and we've heard from them today around the last 2 years, the lengths they've had to go to help support their clients, to keep them afloat. They never thought they'd have to go and do this. Some firms are saying they've been doing recruitment for their clients. They've not been trained to be a recruiter, but actually, because they know if they can keep them afloat, they'll keep themselves afloat. So it's kind of been a do what you have to do, and a lot of people have evolved because of that. What's really interesting is coming today and talking to people at Accountex, seeing a difference in who's coming from firms. So historically, it used to be your decision makers, your partners, your IT managers, or if you're a much smaller firm, maybe the owner. What we're starting to see is some of those bigger firms, we're seeing lower level staff, people who are doing the tax and the accounts coming because they've got a genuine interest in how they can help move their firm forwards. They might not have the power to do it, but they want to be able to go back to the office and go, we really need to change this because look at what I've seen. They're thirsty and hungry to go and change things in their practices.
Steve, final question, and you're uniquely placed to answer this question, and it's kind of a personal one. You've been in this game 20 odd years with the same company, Iris. Both of those things are rare.
Yes.
So what advice would you give to the professionals out there watching, listening, that are looking at some longevity, maybe struggling with the pace of things, a bit stressed out? You have stayed the course. You've kept your head in the game. What are the secrets to that?
So one is you've got to be happy in what you're going to do. And if you're not happy, talk to people about it.
Can you control if you're happy?
There are some that are controllable and others that aren't, right? So can I be happy with the amount of money I've got? Probably not. Can I control that? That's down to someone else. But can I go and talk to someone about that, say I'm unhappy with this because it's got a net effect somewhere else? Being able to share and being vulnerable around that with your colleagues or your managers definitely helps to open up a world of opportunities. Half of the roles I've done at Iris have never existed before I've gone and done them. And the reason they've come up is because I've been open with them and said, I want to do something different. I've got a passion for this area. I can see something. Can we go and try it? If I hadn't have said that to them, I'd never have been the chief evangelist for Iris. I wouldn't be doing the head of market insights now, because you've got to almost put yourself out there a little bit to say, I'm not happy. I want to do this. Here's where my passion lies. And don't be afraid to try something new. Actually, the best things come from when we fail, because we learn from it and we try something else. Failure isn't a bad thing, as long as you learn from it and try something else, and as long as your colleagues and your firm are willing to say, we're going to put a bit of a gamble on this, try this. If it doesn't work, do you know what? It's fine. We'll learn from it and move on. It's around having that flexibility and honesty within a firm.
Another 20 years then, Steve?
Well, I don't think I've got much more hair to lose from that, but potentially, yes.
Yes. And just a quick one, what excites you most about the next few years?
Do you know what, the change we've seen over the last, say, 3 years around digitisation of firms changing their technology, it's exciting. But actually, the real exciting bit is the mindset shift that we've seen. Firms who haven't been able to change, or the last couple of years have kind of put a band-aid over what they've been doing to make it work from home. Now, they're like, right, I can see the potential. I'm open-minded around what we can go and do. Now I want to go and see what else could we go and do. So the mind boggles now with the opportunities for firms to go and transform what they're doing and how they can do it. For me, being someone who wants to push the profession forwards and drive them in the right direction, I kind of feel like we're pushing an open door now, which is great because for so long, it's only been a small proportion of the market that's been willing to do it.
Steve Cox, man of all seasons. That's been great. Thanks for your time today.
No problem.